All right. Welcome, everybody, on Facebook. We'll be going to the radio station in just about 2 seconds. We're talking charcoal tonight with America's Cookout coach, Steve Dotson. Jeff Maxwell to my left, Aaron Carver to my right. In the studio, running the radio side, is Joe Varner of WGOW Talk Radio 102.3. Our number is 267 1023 423 267 1023. Turn up our volume, Joe. I can hear it in the ears. So much about all the great barbecue products and supplies. The Alamo Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop. I know you've got questions, we've got answers. So pick up the phone, 423-267-1023, and let's talk some barbecue. That's right. Good Friday evening, everybody, here on Talk Radio 102.3. This is Steve Ray, and you're watching the Barbecue Show live right here on the Talk Monster. Our number is 267-1023. 423-267-1023 for all you out-of-state and out-of-the-area people. Give us a call. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. You've got questions, we've got answers. Our broadcast partner is Backyard Smokers Barbecue on Facebook, the number one destination for questions, answers, and even if you want to do a little bragging, you can post some pictures on Backyard Smokers Barbecue on Facebook. A great place to learn how to barbecue. We're in touch, so you be in touch. Follow the Owl's Nest Barbecue on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Owl's Nest Barbecue. 267-1023, that's our number. Get in line and get on the phone. We would love to have you. Got a great guest lined up tonight. We have got from West Virginia the most popular reoccurring guest that we have, Steve Dotson from the big West Virginia. Hey, Steve, what's up?
Not much. How you doing?
You know, when I wanted to do this show on charcoal, you're the first guy that came to my mind that would be on the show.
Really? Why's that?
That would be on the show.
Because nobody else would be on the show. I kept calling
Nobody else
everybody.
wants to talk about charcoal?
I know. Isn't that something?
But
we are glad you're here. And the reason I wanted to get with Steve tonight was because at the Owl's Nest Barbecue store in Ooltewah, we got our big shipment of Blues Hog lump, briquettes, and logs in, and we're going to discuss all three. And Steve is an expert on all three. He is a backyard cook, and he competes in a backyard division of the KCBS, and he's been charcoaling and cooking and grilling for a long time for his family. And the guy knows barbecue. On his YouTube channel, the Cookout Coach, go there when you have a chance. And his charcoal video over 197,000 views. So that means something. That means people go to him and they trust him when they want to talk about charcoal. Hey, Steve, we're going to go over, and Jeff, we're going to go over the history of charcoal first. Steve, do you know much about the history of charcoal?
Well, I know that it all came about when Henry Ford was making, I believe, his Model Ts, the leftover scrap from the frames, if I'm not mistaken, is where the whole idea of the briquettes came up. I'm pretty sure at one point in time he actually even sold, or you got a free grill or something along the lines when you bought one. And if I'm not mistaken, Kingsford was his brother-in-law or cousin, one of the two, who sold the idea over to Kingsford. I'm sure you'll fill in the gaps there, but long story short, I think both Kingsford and Ford were in the inaugural Hall of Fame class for the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Does that sound right?
Yes, they are in the Barbecue Hall of Fame, and you're right. But charcoal was invented by a fella named Ellsworth B.A. Zwoyer of Reading, Pennsylvania. I don't know what the B.A. stands for. Back then, people had a lot of middle names. They had two initials in there. Zwoyer, I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's spelled Z-W-O-Y-E-R, so we're going to pronounce it Zwoyer. He invented and patented the charcoal briquette in 1897, more than 20 years before Ford got in the charcoal business. He filed 2 patents in May of 1897, that is. And on August the 3rd, 1897, the United States Patent Office issued him patent numbers 27,483 and 27,484, which is ironic because the person who headed up the patent office said in 1899, anything that can be invented has been invented. Boy, was he wrong. He drew out the charcoal and submitted it. It looks exactly the same as it does right now. It has not changed. And of course, charcoal's been around since, I think the official date may be 500 BC, when people used to use it after they discovered fire, right before Google was invented. They took the charcoal and drew on the cave walls. You
Mhm.
know, I was here. Eat it, Charlie's barbecue, that kind of stuff. Cavemen are crazy. Let's see. And then after World War One, this guy Zoyer started the Zoyer Fuel Company, and it made briquettes in Buffalo, New York. And then in 1927, Mr. Zoyer patented the briquetting method, and method of carbonizing fuel briquettes. However, Mr. Zoyer fell victim to the Great Depression and moved his family to Illinois. Then enter one Henry Ford, and you are 100% correct about your historical perspective in barbecue, Steve Dotson. Henry Ford did take the scraps of lumber from his cars that he was making, and he and his good friend Thomas Edison invented the method of the way they did it, and the way Mr. Kingsford came into being. Ford, let me get this. I'm trying not to read this. I'm trying to do this from memory. Ford wanted to buy a forest. Like, I think what they call that linear model, where you're supplying your own company with the raw materials and stuff like that.
Right.
And
Vertically integrated.
yeah, that's it. That's it. Vertically integrated, right? So, so he buys this forest, and to buy the forest, he enlisted the help of his first cousin's husband, Mr. Kingsford, who was a real estate agent. He was also one of Henry Ford's first car dealers. They were buddies. They were pals. They hunted and did all this stuff together. And it wasn't until Henry Ford died in 1947, still the number one distributor of charcoal in America. He would give away charcoal briquettes or sell them at his dealerships. And he also had a little day grill that he would give away, or I guess, like you said, buy a Model T. Apparently, Henry Ford was a big conservationist, and he was a recycler, kind of a Renaissance man before his time. And in I think it was 1957, is when. Well, anyway, first of all, they moved this sawmill to a place I think it's on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and they called it Kingsford after his cousin. They named the city after his cousin, Kingsford. And that's where the sawmill was that processed all these logs for the car business and for the barbecue and for the charcoal briquettes. Now, we all say, he's in the Barbecue Hall of Fame because he invented charcoal. He didn't invent charcoal, but he was the person that, got behind it and pushed it as the only, I guess back then, the only fuel. But look how long he went from about 1921 until the company was sold to an investment group in 1957. And to honor Henry Ford's cousin, they changed the name from Ford to Kingsford Charcoal. That wasn't until 1957. That's only 2 years before I was born. We're talking a short period of time ago, right? Right before I was born.
Not wrong.
Right before I was born. Shake your head up and down. It's radio. They can't see you. Okay. So, so there you go. I'm sorry. That was 1951. I'm sorry, 1951, which still wasn't wasn't a long time ago. And so there's your history. Of course, then Kingsford, I think, bought it in 1972, I believe. And of course, who Kingsford is owned by now.
Clorox.
Exactly right. Isn't that weird?
Clorox owns like a crazy large percentage of the charcoal market because, it's just one of those companies, right? I actually had a buddy tell me the percentage the other day, just out of the blue, and I can't remember what it was, but it was something like 60 or 70% of the charcoal market.
Well, be glad you're talking to me because I know.
My guess would have been Berkshire Hathaway.
80%. That wouldn't have been a bad guess.
80%. Wow.
80%. Kingsford Charcoal has 80%. Now, fellas, being in the business that we're in, the charcoal or the barbecue world, I'm not saying business, but the world we're in, how many little barbecue briquette companies do we see out there all the time? Oodles and oodles and oodles. B&B, Blues Hog, Duraflame, which just bought B&B.
Royal Oak.
Fogo, Royal Oak. Now, Royal Oak, they're huge. That's a huge company. But they don't
Nope.
What's that?
Kingsford scoffs at them. They go, ha, there's a fly on my lapel, and they flick them off. 80% of the market. They can do no wrong.
Well, I'm pretty sure Duraflame is actually owned by Clorox now, so Clorox also owns B&B.
Oh, really?
Now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. You're probably right. So maybe the government will have to sue them for antitrust because
Charcoal antitrust.
They're cornering the charcoal. Now I've got all my notes mixed up.
Now that explains why charcoal prices have gone up.
Yeah, that explains. You remember the good old days when you got the 2-packer for $9, the two big 18-pound bags for $9 at Sam's, in Walmart and Home Depot and Lowe's and all those places.
Around the holidays, you get the 2-bag special.
Yeah, they would take Home Depot would have it a couple weeks, and Lowe's would have it, then Sam's. It'd show up at Sam's. Well, not so much anymore.
Nope. Last year, the Labor Day sale on charcoal was just the normal price on charcoal.
Yeah.
Yes.
There were no deals.
Yes.
No.
Now the charcoal business had a probably their record year last year.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that was evident by anytime you went into a Lowe's or a Home Depot or wherever you like to buy your fuel, you pretty much had two options. It was you'd get the Kingsford 2-pack or you'd get Royal Oak red bag, and that was pretty unless you went to a smaller, more boutique shop, that's all you were going to find at the hardware stores.
Well, here I do work at Home Depot, so here some of the local pitmasters that have restaurants, they come in and they have a standing order when the holidays come in to get a couple skids worth when they had those deals.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, everybody gets them up. I mean, I bought them last year. No, year before last. I went to Sam's and bought them a bunch and resold them at the store. I mean, that's how cheap they are.
Yeah.
I use them as my distributor and sold Kingsford Charcoal. Now, Steve, you're a B&B ambassador, correct? Is that the right term or
no? We'll call me B&B friendly. I've ran a lot of B&B stuff. I like their products. So I talk about it a lot in my channels, but there's no official agreement between B&B and I.
But you like those guys?
Oh yeah. I think they make a good, solid product. It's just quality product.
Now, however, though, it's been hard to get.
It was extremely hard to get in 2020, and so far in 2021, I've not been any more lucky.
So where did you turn to when you could not get B&B? You turned to
Blues Hog.
Now tell me about that, because that's what we sell.
So, first of all, I wouldn't have ever guessed that Blues Hog would have been easier for me to get than B&B. But sure enough, Ace came through, went on the website, ordered, and of course, anybody that doesn't know, you can get stuff delivered free too. Ace, if you're not lucky enough to live close enough to the Owl's Nest where you can just go in there and pick it up. So I had it delivered to my local Ace, and because I have several pro pitmaster friends, specifically Luke Darnell from Old Virginia Smoke is pretty good friends with Tim Sheeran and the folks out in Blues Hog, and he had it, and he'd tried it. He said it burns clean, it burns good. So I thought, what the heck, let's give it a shot. When I picked it up, I noticed on the bag it said pure Southern Sweet Hickory or something like that. And that's really rare to find in a briquette. And most briquettes are some combination of the majority oak and then the pieces that make it a briquette, which is fine. It doesn't really have much of a standout flavor, and that's fine. But I really like hickory smoke, and I really like hickory lump charcoal. So when I kicked the tires on this Blues Hog briquette, the smell is fantastic. It's different, but it's close, and this is going to sound funny. It's close to a Kingsford Blue Bag, but with a more clean smell to it. So it's definitely got some hickory notes to it, or a different note than oak, I should say. It smells really, really great. Burned clean, burned long. I really enjoy it. As long as they don't run out of supply, that's what I'm running this year.
Well, I think they're good because they sent some to me, and I'm usually the last guy on the food chain. If we got any left, send it to that guy in Ooltewah. Okay, the Kingsford ingredients. And it's funny you should mention you don't know what's in it because I do. Here we go. Wood char, mineral char,
Yep.
mineral carbon, limestone, starch, borax, sodium nitrate, and sawdust. And this is why. Wood char is for heat. Mineral char is also for heat. Mineral carbon is also for heat. Limestone is for the light ash color. Starch is to bind the other ingredients. Borax, it says press release. I have no idea what that means. Sodium nitrate to speed the ignition. And sawdust to speed the ignition. Doesn't say a lot about any wood products, does it? And that's
just your wood char,
yeah, just the wood char, and I guess that's just whatever they happen to scoop up that day,
right?
And pulverize it. But now you said that the Blues Hog, and I believe they tout an all natural product. I think there's mostly wood in their products.
Yeah, I could go grab a bag, but that sounds right.
Yeah. Now tell me about your experience with the. Let's compare and contrast. No, wait, hold on. We got to go to a break. I've got so excited about this. I've gone over time. So we're going to take a real quick break. You're listening to the Barbecue Show live here on Talk Radio 102.3. The Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply is the proud home of all the Butcher barbecue products from two-time barbecue world champion David Bosca. His rubs, sauce, and grilling oils turn ordinary barbecue into extraordinary barbecue. Grilling addiction rub to the famous barbecue mud. Get your Butcher barbecue products at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ooltewah. We'll be right back with Steve Dotson here on the Talk Monster 102.3.
Shoot, I forgot that we had breaks.
Yeah, I'm just rambling on like we're on the internet. That was great.
Now, I've been cooking blue bag for my whole life. I just bought some stuff from Steve to try out the Blues Hog. But, you hear those things on the internet, all the, food sites and stuff about, all these products they're finding in there besides the briquettes. And I've never experienced that. And I've brought hundreds of bags.
I've only ever experienced it when it comes to lump charcoal. So between my experiences with, and particularly the biggest offender, and it's just a product of buying up large amounts of wood, you're going to have fence in it and other things, is red bag, Royal Oak lump. I've gotten so many pieces of metal or rocks in them.
You get weird stuff. I bought a bag of I won't say who it was, but I bought a bag of lump charcoal, and there was a telephone cord in it. The old kind had the little, the telephone thing you put in at your house.
Oh, yeah.
They must have petrified that wood.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a telephone cord.
Yeah, there was a phone cord in it. So
yeah, and people get all bent out of shape about that, but you got to remember, they're buying. Well, yeah, you didn't, Steve, but you're not everybody.
I'm not. I'm not Jim on the internet. I'm not Jim on Facebook.
It's just they're buying up so much wood to make this charcoal that 60 years ago, a farmer probably came through and nailed something up. Now your phone cord's interesting, but like people finding nails and metal, it's like, come on, this is just don't burn it.
There's going to be byproducts when you have that amount of volume.
Exactly.
Hey, real quick, I want to say hi to Al Selvage. He's listening. Al, I need you tomorrow. I need you to weld something for me. It'll only take you a second. Thank you very much. Emmeline Wharton, how are you doing? Scott Stennett, the president of the Steve Dotson fan club, is with us tonight. Coach taught me everything I know. And Eileen says hi. Ellen Williams, hello back to you. Let's see, and that's all that's in there right now. Hey, if you're in the chat room, you can call us at 423-267-1023. If you've got a question, we'll put you on the air. And you can talk to Steve, you can talk to me, you can talk to Jeff live on the air here in Chattanooga, Tennessee We would love to hear from you if you have a question about charcoal tonight or barbecue in general. We're always ready to entertain any barbecue questions. Be glad to do it too.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
A lot of time you hit as well.
We sold 2 Green Mountain grills between 4 and 5 o'clock this afternoon.
That's all right.
Isn't that incredible?
It's getting
Out of the blue.
The season, man.
I know.
So those Green Mountains, which size do you normally sell the most of?
Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone?
What's the percentages?
I don't keep that.
Or just about. Is it half of them?
Probably 60%. That sounds good. Let's see, 60%.
Just curious.
I'm not a big record keeper.
Oil in Ottawa.
Except the Dodgers.
Here we go. Yeah, I keep that statistic. You're darn right, I keep that statistic for sure. Hey, welcome back to the Barbecue Show live here on Talk Radio 102.3. This is Steve Ray, and I'm going to tell you something. If you're a Malcolm Reed fan, Steve Dotson, are you a Malcolm Reed fan?
I love Malcolm Reed.
You have more than 15,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
And Malcolm, you're a fly on Malcolm Reed's shoulder. He will flick you off.
He has no idea who I am.
Sure you are. Malcolm Reed's the best, and we have the entire lineup of how to barbecue right rubs and sauces at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. Did you see Malcolm use his classic, the barbecue rub on a pork butt, then follow it up with his AP rub? Yeah, I saw it too. And you can get them both at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. Thank you, Malcolm Reed, for being a great supplier of our store. 267-1023, that's our number. If you've got a question about barbecue, 267-1023. I want to give a big shout out to 2 people this afternoon, Ken Bearden and Brian Eller. Both of them came to the Owl's Nest Barbecue store right next to the Midnight Oil this afternoon. Ken, and now you'll know Ken, folks, if you are loyal talk radio listeners. Joe Varney, you'll know this name. Ken goes by the Peanut Boy, truck driver, the Peanut Boy. You can hear him call the morning show often. And Ken bought a Green Mountain grill. And Brian Eller came down from Athens, Tennessee, and picked up a Daniel Boone. And I got to spend a lot of time with Brian, showing him how to work it. We primed it for him and got it going, and that was a lot of fun. And I appreciate him coming down there. And that's what sets us apart. We'll sit there and we'll work with you. We'll show you how to use it there at the store. We just don't give you a grill and say good luck. We hang in there with you. And thanks to Ken and Brian for coming down. 267-1023, that's our phone number. 3 lines open. If you've got a question, we've got an answer with Steve Dotson from West Virginia, and we're talking charcoal. All right, Steve, you use different vessels. I'm sure you have a Weber kettle or something like that.
Yep.
Because I'm the only person in the United States that doesn't have a Weber kettle. You've got a gravity feed smoker. I think you compete on.
Not yet, but about to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've cooked on other gravity feeds.
Okay. Your competition cooker is a what?
Currently, it's a homemade. We'll call it a drum. Weber Smoky Mountain, that sort of vein of thing. It's its own abomination, but it's in that vein.
Okay, so you're cooking over a live fire with a deflector.
Yes, sir.
If you can imagine a green egg, I guess, or the Smoky Mountain from Weber's in that vein, correct?
Yep.
All right, what kind of charcoal does Steve Dotson use in that vessel?
Well, so recently it's been Blues Hog briquettes.
Briquettes.
Yeah, it's always briquettes. So the thing is, I wanted to run lump in it, but it's such a large cooker. It requires so much heat to move through it that the lump I couldn't run a full 8-hour cook without having to refuel. And that's fine. But for me, if I can just go ahead and run briquettes or logs and not have a problem with having to refuel, I'd rather just go ahead and do that.
All right, let's compare and contrast. You've got briquettes because you get a longer burn, correct?
Right.
So you're telling, I guess you're suggesting that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the way I understand it is the lump charcoal burns faster?
Steve, I'm not only suggesting it.
Okay.
I've actually got video evidence that in a small sample size using identical cookers, it certainly was the case in a video that I made that I had a small amount of lump versus the same weight of briquettes, and the briquettes would run about an hour longer at the same temperature.
Okay, so you have side by side compared.
Right. So you probably know this, but some people may not. I can't stand to tell people something, especially through the avenues that I have to communicate with folks, if I don't know it to be true myself, haven't seen the data. So, if it's something like that, we're going to go ahead and run the test and verify it.
Well, we differ. I do that all the time. Okay, so the lump charcoal though, does it burn hotter?
So I've never ran that specific test to be certain. Mm-hmm. That is sort of conventional wisdom, is it burns hotter. And but my thing is, I can take briquettes and get them just ripping hot. They may burn hotter in a smaller quantity, I suppose, but with a hairdryer you can easily get either of those up to 900 degrees, 1,000 degrees if you want to, right below the grate. So it probably does. What I think you get more out of lump charcoal is you get more of that wood flavor. Where we just talked about the ingredients that go into a briquette, when we're dealing with lump charcoal, it's literally carbonized wood, and in some instances, it's specific breeds of wood, right? So it's hickory, or it's a mesquite, or it's oak, and I think that's really where you get the difference with lump versus briquettes.
So now, the reason I use in my cookers, and especially in our competition cooker, I use a gravity feed charcoal cooker. I use briquettes. And the reason I use briquettes is because most people in gravity feeds will use lump charcoal. I use briquettes simply because I understand and I know the burn time. And in a competition, that's important. I know it's the way it's going to act, the way it's going to burn, how long it's going to burn. And that's important to me. With lump charcoal, you can count on that a little. You can use a timetable a little bit, but because the sizes vary in sizes so much, you get a burn that's it can go faster because the parts are smaller. It'll go hot cold because there's more. You get to a pocket where there's more charcoal, then that burns out. Then there's less charcoal in the chimney simply because of the way it's made. It interlocks and it won't let it drop and things of that sort. But I'm not against lump charcoal by any stretch of the imagination. I like it. I like to cook with it when I can, especially in my PK, which is my version of the Weber that everybody else has in the world. So I prefer lump in my PK. Do you stay along those lines?
Yeah, no, that is exactly sort of what I've seen. And it's funny because I always get a question from folks, because I recommend grate level thermometers to know what your cooker is doing. But you'll get the new people and they'll be watching it and it'll dip 10 degrees or so. And they'll be sitting there going, well, it keeps dipping on me or climbing on me. And so first question is, what fuel are you running? And if they're running lump charcoal, just like you said, you've got to account for, if I have a smaller piece that burns out and I've got oxygen and we're igniting a large piece, one, we're going to have a dip because it's going to take longer for that to ignite. And then two, we might get a spike afterwards because we've just lit a really large piece of lump charcoal. So I have a buddy, Dave Parrish, always used to say lumpy charcoal equals lumpy heat. And he was referring specifically to if you're searing steaks or whatever and you've got a bed of coals. Well, if you've got a bed of lump charcoal, one might be closer to the grate, so you might get a hotter spot. But I also see that same behavior when it comes to temperature. So you've got to sort of learn to relax if you're going to run that lump charcoal in a low and slow situation.
Go ahead, Jeff. Jeff's got a question from the Facebook chat room.
Al Salvage is asking, do you ever mix or can you mix the lump, the briquette, logs? And what kind of results do you get?
Good question.
Sure. So I'll go ahead and take a stab at that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was at a competition this weekend, and again, being new to the Blues Hog, I wasn't sure exactly how long it would burn, and I didn't want to run out at the end of the competition, right? So when I wrapped up ribs and before chicken had gone, so everything that was on my cooker was protected, I went ahead and threw in some extra lump charcoal for the main purpose of lump charcoal won't have the same amount of ignition smoke as briquettes will. So of the 9 ingredients or so that Steve just listed off in a briquette, the limestone's there to let you know it's safe to go. The sodium nitrate's there to help it kick off. There are different things there that you don't necessarily want on your food. The more natural product, the better, but generally they're going to have a little bit of a helper in there. Well, lump charcoal is just carbonized wood. So while there's sort of a different flavor when it lights off, it's much more mild and sort of safer not to put a funny flavor on your wood. So I like to use them like that. I'll use, if I'm going to have to refuel at any point in time, I like to refuel with lump charcoal just because there's less other things I'm introducing to my food at that point.
That's really interesting. I never thought of that. That's excellent.
Yeah, good point. Hey, we got to take our second break of the day. If 267-1023, get on the phone and give us a call and talk charcoal and talk barbecue with us. If ribs are your barbecue thing, then I have the thing for you. Craig Sherry's famous Texas rib jelly and Texas rib candy. Plus, his chicken and barbecue rubs are now available at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. Treat your ribs with a taste of Texas from Craig Sherry and Texas rib jelly and Texas rib candy and all the good stuff from Texas. We'll be right back on the Barbecue Show Live with our guest, Steve Dotson, and we're talking charcoal. And join us.
That was actually a phenomenal tip. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Good idea. Good question, Al Salvage.
You're pulling off the meat. If you have that and you're having to refuel, sometimes you'll have to pull off that meat, let the bad smoke go away, and then put your meat back on. If you're using the lump, that makes a whole lot of sense, Steve. I never thought of that.
Yep. Yeah. No. I just took the stoker, knocked the ash off, pushed everything that was live to one side, put the other side up with lump, and as it rolled over, it was fine.
That's awesome.
Well, I'm anxious to. When we come back, I want to talk about the logs. I've never used the logs. That's something I just don't know anything about, but they intrigue me.
The logs are wild and cool. It's just they're hard for me to get, but I like them. I really like the idea of them. So, and I've only got to use logs once, but they were everything they were hyped up to be. Man, they had one heck of a burn time.
Mm-hmm. Do you start those? Well, we'll wait. We'll wait until we get back on the radio if we ask important questions. Everybody, thanks for watching here on Facebook. We're in the middle of our break. If you ever want to listen to us on the radio, you can. You go to WGOW.com, WGOW.com, and you'll go to the bottom of the page. You'll see the Listen Live icon and just click it. They'll play a commercial that you have to listen to. Then they go live to the particular show that's on. You can listen to us on the radio here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, on Talk Radio 102.3.
Now, when you're using lumper logs, Steve, are you adding wood to it to get your particular fruit flavor that you wanted or that, or will you roll without it?
It depends on what I'm doing, but most of the time, yes. Yeah, I do a lot of cooks on a Kamado, so if I'm doing something like baking, I won't. If it's chicken, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't, because sometimes I just kind of like that charcoaly, old schooly, pit flavored chicken. But most of the time, I'm going to go ahead and still add some wood. And with the logs, I definitely add some wood.
See, I would have thought the opposite. With the logs, you'd have more of the wood flavor in there.
No, because you see, the logs are generally just the same thing as briquette. Just from my understanding, they're pressurized more than a briquette is, so you've got way more material there to burn.
That's what I read.
The density
too.
of it.
Yeah,
the density of it.
Bingo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really cool product, though. I love the idea behind those things.
I'm gonna next Sunday. I'm gonna be doing it. I haven't tried it yet. I bought all 3 from Steve, and I'm gonna give him a test run and time frames and all that on next Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, I may try to get my hand on some of the hog logs, is what the Blues Hog ones are called, right?
Right.
And
I
might
got 3 pit
try to
barrels, so I'm gonna run the same amount weight wise in each one. See burn time. See to keep temperature.
Yep.
So when you did your test, did you run it in the same vessel and temperature control it?
Yeah. So I didn't put a fan on them, but I ran it on 2 acorns side by side, and I'm pretty handy at running an acorn. So
Okay, here we go.
Talk Radio 102.3.
Welcome back to the Barbecue Show Live here on Talk Radio 102.3. He's the king, and the king reigns supreme at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. Myron mixing rubs and sauces set the pace for your backyard cookout. Myron is the winningest man in barbecue, and he wants to be part of your backyard team. That's right. So team up with Jack's Old South and get your Myron mixing products at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. We're with Steve Dotson, the cookout coach from West Virginia. We're talking charcoal. Our number is 267-1023 if you want to get in, or if you got, I couldn't believe all the people that came into the store today that were cooking brisket for Easter. That's what the number one thing people were asking about was brisket today. I gave out the famous Owl's Nest barbecue brisket recipe at least 7 times today. Helping people get going. I didn't know brisket. I thought ham was an Easter meat, didn't you?
Ham and lamb.
Yeah, ham and lamb. I had no idea, but around Ottawa, it's brisket. But I tell you, we've got what you need. If you're cooking a ham, we got what you need. If you want brisket, we've got what you need. We'll be open all day tomorrow too. We're with Steve Dotson on the Butcher Barbecue Skype hotline. Now we're going to shift from charcoal and briquettes, and we're going to go to logs. And don't you wish on radio we could show pictures, because these charcoal logs are really, really cool. And
yeah, absolutely. Because if you've never seen them, it's just different.
It is different. Now, the first thing I wanted to ask, and I wanted to wait till after the break so we got everybody's in the room now. How do you light those things? Because let's describe them. They're around a log of charcoal with a hole in the middle. About what do you think? 6 inches long?
Yeah, somewhere between 4 and 6.
4 and 6 inches long. How do you light them, and how do you set up your grill with them, Steve?
So, first of all, you could light them in a chimney just like you would any other piece of charcoal. I do a lot of my lighting with a weed burner for different reasons, but mainly in some of my cookers, it just helps accelerate the process if I can light the entire top of the coals that I have in there. Mm-hmm. But the thing about lighting them is they require a little bit more fire, for lack of a better term, to get them lit, because what they are is they're usually an extruded product. They are packed at a way higher PSI than a briquette is. So there's not a whole lot of room to get that fire in there and get that oxygen in there. That's sort of why that center punched hole is there, is to help get oxygen to the surface that you're trying to light on fire. Because it's such a tightly packed thing, I find that it takes a little bit more attention to get it lit. Even with a weed burner, you've really got to kind of lay it on it to really get it going good. Now, as far as laying it in your cooker, I pretty much fill up my fire basket about the same as I would any other time, with the exception of, and it's a little bit annoying, but it's the cost of doing business, you don't want it to fall in there sort of all cattywampus and create some voids on you, right? Because that's one thing that we don't have to worry about with briquettes. Briquettes are almost like little balls, and as we pour them into a fire basket, they just fill up perfectly. Right. Well, with that 4 to 6 inch log, you can get some weird bridging and create some voids. So basically, I'll pour it into my fire basket and just sort of put my hand down there and give it a shake and try to level everything out.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you line them up after they're lit? You put them like little lines, or no? I'm serious, because there's room. There's like you could put it all along the bottom, a couple of rows, 2 or 3 rows of those things on the bottom of your grill, and it looks like to me, if you got them lit well in the charcoal starter, you would have a pretty even burn at the bottom of your grill.
So let me say it like this: when I've ran them before, it was just a test cook. Mm-hmm. I didn't do that. If I was in the competition, my brain would absolutely force me to line them up in that fire basket like that. And I've seen guys who run Old Hickories, and Old Hickories have a fire basket that's sort of like a trough, and they'll stand them up in there and sort of line them up like dominoes. For the exact reason you're talking about. It gives you a nice, even, perfectly symmetrical burn.
See, I would imagine that, when you have those voids, you're having more oxygen, so you're going to have a faster, hotter cook than if you stacked them like that. That's how I envision it, Steve. Would that be correct?
I think so, yeah. I think with the logs, you have the ability to be just the absolute most consistent fire you could produce.
Okay, now with the logs, obviously they're going to burn forever.
Yeah.
Because they're packed so tight.
Right.
There's a lot of energy in each one. But what about heat, Steve? Do they burn hotter? because that's always the question everybody has: which one burns hottest? And
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I don't know why that question is so. It doesn't really matter, but well, I guess it could matter. But do they burn hotter?
right. I agree. It's sort of a silly question, right? Because you only need your fire to get so hot. Um, Theoretically, I suppose they have the capability to burn hotter because they've got so much more fuel there that is at their disposal to burn. The more appropriate way to measure it, I think, is you have to burn less of that log to maintain a temperature. So, does it burn hotter? Probably, but probably more importantly is you burn less of that log to maintain the normal temperature you're going to maintain. So it burns longer. And that to me is way more important than what burns hotter.
And most of us are using a temperature controller anyway, so that's what's going to make it. If you're running it at 275, and that's going to burn for 12 hours versus the 10 hours that you get on something else, that's where.
Right. But if for instance, say you're running the PK, and you've got it set up for a reverse sear, right? So you've got a hot side and a cold side.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got it separated by something, right? So you've got a very limited spot to do your sear, and you need it to get hot. Theoretically, if you open your vents all the way and allow maximum airflow to those logs in a given space, I believe you will be able to achieve a higher temperature than you would in a given space of lump or briquettes. I feel like that makes more sense. For the total volume, I think it'll burn hotter.
I think that the PK grill, thinking of, and it just made me think of it, what you said. With those bottom vents that you can open, and you can get all kinds of airflow to that particular grill. That might be the ultimate test that we can use, Jeff.
Let's give it a try.
To test on these test these charcoals.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and it would be easy just to put a griddle, just put a
Grill grate.
Yeah, grill grate on her.
Yep.
Grill grate or an iron skillet.
And use your infrared and find out which one burns the hottest.
There you go.
Because that's what the questions in my short 1 week career of selling charcoal. That's the question. Everybody, which one's hottest?
Right.
And I say, I don't know. And I ask them, why do you want to know that? Or what does that matter to them? And they go, I don't know.
Well, yeah, you're all setting a temperature on whatever vessel you're using. It really doesn't. I mean,
we're both looking at each other, going, well, I don't know, and we don't. They don't know why they asked the question. I don't know the answer to the question they asked, but it's just. And then they grab a bag of briquettes and they pay and they leave. So that when all else fails, go to what works, and that's a bag of briquettes.
Al Salvage says on the chat, another weed burner man. Steve said I was cheating.
I like those weed burners. Those are nice. So, Steve Dotson, what is on the table for the Steve Dotson competition trail coming up?
Well, so we competed at 2 competitions last week, or it was a double last weekend.
And where was that
at? Urbana, Virginia.
Okay.
Which is a little bit east and a little bit south of Richmond, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we didn't win. We took 4th the first day. We had a top 10 chicken call. We had a second place rib call. We took 5th the second day. We had a top 10 chicken call. We had a second place pork call. And we had the 3rd highest cumulative score for 2 days. So there was some rust. We knocked it off. I feel pretty good going forward. But, you'll have that, I reckon. Yeah. Can't win them all.
Yeah,
complaining about getting calls.
Complaining about 4th and 6th. Yeah.
No, not complaining. Not complaining. Left myself plenty of room to get better throughout the year. So we'll go ahead and do that.
That's good.
So we've got, I believe I've got 13 other ones set up to go for this year. Of course, we're going to be trying to chase KCBS Backyard Team of the Year. We've got the Mid-Atlantic MABA, Mid-Atlantic Barbecue Association, has Backyard Team of the Year, as well as Chicken Team of the Year, Ribs Team of the Year. So we're chasing all those things. And then the cool thing is, with Char-Griller dropping the new gravities, when we start cooking on those, we'll start sort of chronicling the Cookout Coach DQ Barbecue competition journey this year over on the Char-Griller page. Sort of like, if you remember last year, Steve, I did a lot of live cooks over on the Char-Griller Facebook page.
Yep.
Well, this year, after every competition, I'm going to be gathering up some tips and tricks that I'm doing in the competitions, but we're going to be over there on their page live, sort of recapping what happened and how the new cookers are working out, because they won't just be new to me; they'll be new to the entire market. So that'll be fun. We get people a little bit more involved in the journey we're doing this year.
Hold that thought. When we come back on the other side of this break, we're going to talk about the char griller, new gravity feed smoker that's coming down the pike that Steve's speaking of. And I wasn't ready. Hang on just a second.
That's the first.
Here it is. Here it is. All you pellet heads out there know that your pellet smoker needs a quality fuel. At the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply, we stock Barbecuer's Delight pellets that will keep your smoker running smoothly with great flavor. Everything from mesquite, oak, hickory to cherry, you can trust Barbecuer's Delight pellets to stoke your smoker with flavor and dependability. And we just got 3 big old pallets of pellets in today. So stop by tomorrow for a great selection on fresh pellets at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. More barbecue talk with Steve Dotson from West Virginia in just a moment here on the Talk Monster 102.3 Talk Radio. All right. I love my PK too, Albert. Alvin's gonna come over and weld a little grill grate I've got that broke. He doesn't know what you're doing.
Oh, he knows it. He posted in the chat.
It's a pretty solid welder if you can weld aluminum.
He said he didn't say weld it tomorrow.
It's not a grill grate. It's a grill grate.
Gotcha.
Not to be compared with a grill grate. It's the
Right.
other grill.
It's a normal grill grate.
The other grill grate. But we have grill grates. I saw 2 sets of grill grates today.
An abundance of grill grates over at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply Pro Shop.
All you Facebook listeners, if you don't know what a grill grate is, come by the store and I'll show you. They are fantastic. Fantastic little tools.
Any of you who are cooking steaks or burgers and you have that flare-up problem with a gas grill or something, those grill grates, they'll eliminate that for you.
You know what the best protein to cook on a grill grate is that makes it easy? Chicken wings. You can cook chicken wings super hot on grill grates.
Are you doing them flipped over, or are you doing them with the
No. I'm doing them with the regular side up. Usually chicken wings, if you put them right on your regular grill grate, you get fires, all that grease, and it's a mess. Right. It's a bona fide mess. You got to cook them real slow. Then it's hard to get the skin crispy. Then with those grill grates, it's worth having them just to cook if you like to do chicken wings. That's the only way we do wings now. We just grill them.
They're so easy to clean too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, and you're not having to clean that, the bottom of that grill as much. That's the biggest advantage I think. Besides even getting it hotter, so you get a nice sear.
Tell you what, I hadn't had a grilled chicken wing for a while, and then last year we were at a competition in Indiana, and my buddies were there ahead of me, and they'd grilled them up old school, and just literally grilled them up, and then hit them with some Blues Hog raspberry chipotle sauce. And I hadn't had an old school grilled wing like that in a long time. Man, that hit the spot.
They're the best. They're the best.
Oh, so good.
Steve Jordan says, Jeff, I can hear you tonight. Well, thank you, Steve. You can thank me for that. I figured out what the volume knob does.
Plus, I'm consciously speaking louder into the speaker and facing directly into it.
Oh, the fun of live streaming.
It is fun.
Well, I have a tendency to turn to Steve when I'm responding to him instead of speaking right into it. So,
well, you got to do this. You got to do this.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah,
I typically look at you when I'm talking, and then he has to point to me to space forward.
You used to do this.
Yeah.
This, and you're talking like this. That doesn't work. Steve, you should do one of your live shows and have us on your live show.
I started doing a live show last year.
I know you did.
It's a lot. The YouTube thing keeps me hopping the way it is. I like to do them every once in a while. I tell you what, tonight it was getting sunny, or it's starting to be light longer, and I was like, man, it's almost time to be out in the yard doing these things.
Yeah.
Imagine the amount of subs you get if Steve is on your show all the time.
Absolutely.
I mean, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Bring my 329 subs with me.
Only a few more, and you're going to have to give a car away.
Me.
Here we go. Can't hear you yet, Joe. We good? Okay, we're good. We're back on. Green Mountain Grills are the pellet smoker of choice for Big Mo, Jim Elzer, Sterling Smith, and dozens of other professional barbecue competitors. Come by the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and see the Green Mountain Grill in action. The best pellet smoker you can buy, period. The Green Mountain Grill. And again, a big shout out to Ken Bearden and Brian Eller for coming down to the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and picking up their Green Mountain Grills today, a Daniel Boone and a Davy Crockett. All right, the Char Grill. You are an ambassador for Char Griller. You do a great job. And Char Griller is a cool company. Lots of affordable products. We've got 2.5 minutes left, Steve. Tell us about the new gravity charcoal feed cooker coming from Char Griller.
Right. So, folks that don't know, gravity cooker, you have a silo full of charcoal on one side, fire's down at the bottom of it, hence gravity feeds the charcoal into the fire, and you've got a fan system that regulates the temperature. Traditionally, gravities are big, and you've got a aftermarket controller. Well, Char Griller has an integrated controller, so it runs a lot like a pellet grill is the best way I can describe it to folks. The one that they're coming out with is fully insulated, so it's going to be highly efficient. It's sort of different because it's got an offset barrel sort of design, so we're going to get a little different airflow. I think it's got the makings to be something really, really cool, and I'm excited to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. The pellet, basically a charcoal gravity feed is a pellet cooker. The pellets are just bigger.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
It works on gravity. It doesn't have an auger, but it is so similar in operation philosophy, I guess, to a pellet cooker. I mean, I've used one for years. I love them. I've got several, and I've got a big one coming, and we're having one built down in Scott Smith's building us one.
I can't wait.
I can't wait to cook on it, and it is efficient. Matter of fact, if you own a restaurant, or if you're thinking about owning a restaurant, or if you're looking for a new smoker in your restaurant, by all means, and I think Steve and Jeff will agree with me on this. Look at a gravity feed charcoal cooker for your kitchen.
Yeah, if I did big caterings or whatnot, I would absolutely want one of the big gravities to do it. You get great, efficient heat, even heat. I don't think there's a better choice.
Consistent heat.
Consistent heat.
It doesn't fluctuate at all if you put that fan on.
Hey, we got to go. Steve Dotson from West Virginia, thank you so much again for being on the show. Jeff Maxwell, thank you. Joe and Aaron, thank you very much. Everyone watching on Facebook, listening on the Talk Monster, Talk Radio 102.3, thank you very much. Next week, don't miss it. David Bosca, two-time world barbecue champion, will be joining us with his reveal of new products right here on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show and the Barbecue Show Live, and they will be available at the Barbecue Supply Store soon in Ooltewah. David Bosca, two-time world barbecue champion, next Friday night right here, 7 o'clock. And until then, everybody, good night and good luck.
Every time I go, well, Steve Dotson again, it's every other week. You knock it out of the park, bro.
Thanks, sir.
You're always entertaining.
Appreciate it.
Man,
We do what we
Steve
can.
Dotson.
Love coming on the show.
You're really honing your skills on this competition stuff.
Yeah, we do okay.
I mean,
okay.
You're starting to get disappointed with 4th and 6th. I like.
I hate that I come across. Well, first of all, it was 4th and 5th, but
yeah, don't short me out now.
Oh shoot! No, it's good. It's we've got a real competitive group up here. And the thing is, first one of the year, I slipped up. Now I'm smart enough to see where I slipped up on things. I think it's going to be another good year. I think the competition is going to be great. With so many competitions in our area, it's going to be a ton of fun. There's going to be a lot of lead changes. I'm just pumped. I love to compete.
Now, you said you think you knew where you slipped up. What do you think was the difference in this cook? And all the backyard people still on Facebook, hang with us because you may learn something from a contest screw up that you can use in your backyard cooking that you can beware of, something not to do. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, so the biggest thing that I did that I knew I shouldn't have done was day one, I got killed on pork, and justifiably so. And basically, what had happened was I'm a money muscle separator. That's who I am. I don't cook 4 pound pork butts. I cook 1 or 2 full size pork butts. I'll separate the money muscle, let it finish. So I pulled it off and I put it in my cooler, and I didn't vent it, which isn't necessarily something I always do. But more than that, I never burped the cooler. And where the temperature I pulled it off at was great, but it's got a 2.5 hour rest before I was ready for those money muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And when I pulled them out of the cooler, they were
Mushy.
tight.
Well, they're
No,
tight.
they weren't mushy. They tightened back up.
Sometimes it'll retighten.
Well, how can they be
Right.
tight when it was still hot in there, though?
Well, so I was like, okay, I've seen this happen before. Sometimes I can usually get it to loosen back up. So I put it back on the cooker while I was messing with getting some pulled together, pulled them back off. Both of them wouldn't loosen back up. And basically, I'm pretty sure what had happened was I had taken them too far and dried them out
Okay.
to where when I tried to loosen them back up, there was nothing there to loosen.
Mm-hmm.
So day 2, same thing happened, same timeline, everything's right on schedule. Pull them off, vent them, just a couple minutes, just enough to let them stop steaming. Put them back in there. Was careful to burp the cooler. Behaved the similar way. Pulled them out. Felt a little better. Put them on the cooker. They loosened back up. Boom, we get second place pork. Everybody's happy. Well, could have been a little happier, I reckon, but
it boiled down to the tenderness game.
yeah, I think I just pushed them a little too hard, and then kept them cooking on accident. Well, not really. I made a mistake. They kept cooking, went too far, didn't go to mush, but I think if I would have retched in there at the right time, they would have been mush. They went to mush, kept holding, cooled down, and when I needed to get the juices moving
they're not
again, there
really
was
tight.
nothing there.
Okay. So they did a whole cycle then. Okay. I see.
Oh yeah,
See,
yeah.
Steve, Sean Cosby,
And I put him in the box. I should have never put him in the box
Yeah.
the first day.
when I did the honeybee a couple of years ago, Sean Cosby told me that's exactly what happened to me. Is I pulled them off too soon, and they retightened because I let them go through the cycle like Steve's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can hold them for a long time, but you've just got to be careful not to push them too far because there's going to be a time when you need to warm them back up, get them loose again, and if you push it too far, there's nothing there to.
Do you when you have let's see what temperature do you separate? You're supposed to go to
I
165,
separate
but
them.
I know.
No, pork's done at 145. So I usually separate them when I temp them. They're usually like 150, 155.
So that's when you separate and you take them off then?
No, I separate them and finish cooking them.
Okay.
So when I separate the money muscle, it'll be about an hour, and it'll hit an internal temp somewhere between 207 and 210.
Mm-hmm. So you cook them to 207 or 210.
Oh yeah, and then hold them,
and then take them off.
Yep.
And you get slices out of that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And normally it works for me. This Saturday was the only time it hadn't worked for me at all, and I thought about it a little bit afterwards. And after I sent the box, I was like, I never should have put those slices in, because they were tough, and I knew they were tough.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the difference between a GC and fourth place overall, but because there was only 2 points that separated us, it was tight at the top. So yeah, that mistake probably cost me a GC, but you'll have that. You just got to recognize what you did and what you can do better.
Now, Emmeline Wharton, apparently you know her.
Yeah, she has a contest in Marietta, Ohio.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Is it Marietta, Georgia? Is it Marietta, Ohio?
No, it's Marietta, Ohio.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
That's coming up in late middle of April.
Okay.
What part of the state is Marietta?
Right across the river from West Virginia.
Okay.
Do y'all border Ohio?
Yeah.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
You sure?
Yeah,
On
the
west
Ohio
side of
River
Vir-
forms the border of West Virginia, buddy. That's
Okay. All right. They're talking about having a contest down here in North Georgia, trying to put one together. Would you come that far?
I mean, did I get to hang out with you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably be convinced.
Y'all could use the crazy luxurious 7248 Clutch Creek Drive home as your headquarters.
We'd also
There
have
we
a cookout coach live at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply and Pro Shop.
God, how big would that be?
I mean,
How
how much
big?
parking
Millions and
space do you
millions
have?
of people from all over the planet coming to see the cookout coach.
I mean, yeah. So I have a buddy who's already been to Georgia competing this year. He's from Charleston, West Virginia, which is about 2 hours south of me. But you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, Steve. When it gets down to the end and points are at stake,
You'll go anywhere, won't you?
decisions will have to be made.
Yeah.
Decisions will have to be made.
Yeah. Kids, honey, y'all can't eat this week.
Oh no, you'll eat really well when I get home.
Well, I always joke with my brother. We because my brother's the other half of my team, and we'll be driving out there. I said, Johnny, we got to win, otherwise we can't go home because we got to win a little gas money. I'm only kind of joking when I tell him that.
We laugh about stuff like that, but there's a lot of guys back, especially in the old days when they were competing to. And Myron Mixon was one of them. They were competing to
Feed their
make the
families.
house payment.
Yeah, so I guess disclosure, I don't really do that, and please don't anybody who's listening do that.
Right.
You can enjoy this hobby without doing that.
Yeah, it is a hobby and it's an expensive hobby. And if you think you're going to pay for everything by winning, well, you're Steve Dotson.
Shoot.
Not last weekend, but
I don't know. Only thing winning does is makes it all worthwhile. I guess I've never won, so I don't know. It would make it worthwhile though.
Oh, you do some winning, but I'll tell you who talks a good smack. That man right next to me talks a good smack at a competition.
Oh, buddy, I'll talk to Smack.
see, so I am just terribly superstitious about things.
Mhm.
I don't like to talk about how the cook went. I don't like to talk about how I've done in the past. I don't like to talk about what we might do today. That's bad juju, and I don't do it.
Oh,
Can't do it.
In the local comp, Steve will talk the smack before the names are called. He'll walk the walk.
Well, that's because I picked the judges
Well, yeah, that's typically the case too.
because I put on the contest. That's the only way I could find to win. Steve Dotson, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for
We
having
gotta
me.
go. We gotta roll. I gotta get up super early. I got a catering job I gotta get to tomorrow morning.
Appreciate you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Hey.
Take care.
Yep.
All right, Aaron. Thank you everybody for watching on Facebook. We'll see you back here next Friday.